What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 114 of the RUDIS Wrestling Podcast, brought to you as always by us. Matt, we got some scuffling to talk about. What did you think?
There's some serious scuffling going on in some matches there. Yeah, it's I don't know if there's much to talk about from a team perspective, but I
really no, I think I disagree.
See,
my takeaway is Oklahoma State stinks.
Okay, well, you said it before me. Now, they were without one of their biggest point scorers, Boo Llewellyn.
Boo.
Yeah, I mean, he was probably, so far in the season, he's probably the guy that's established himself,
Him and Pitch.
Yeah. But without him getting a whatever version we want to call Joe Smith, I don't even know what that version is at this point, or what it's going to be, or what it could be.
If you were the coach, would you have any faith in the fact that that's going to turn around much? Because this is his senior year. He has 2 months of wrestling left. It sure doesn't look like it's going to turn around.
At this point, and I know this is his dad, thinking about his son and everything, but it's almost like shame on me if I should expect something different, even though we know the talent is there. We know the talent is there, and he's proven he's been on the podium before, but the inconsistencies, the injuries, the weight fluctuation, all that stuff, to believe that Joe is going to lock it in, and he could. He's only got 3 months left, 2.5 months left at this point.
Yeah,
but
and some of the skill set is there, but there's got to be the conditioning and everything else that goes along with it, the timing, et cetera, et cetera.
And the consistency in performance week in and week out. Right now, it's like you just don't know. So I'm like, if I was a coach and this was going to be my guy, if Joe Smith was going to be my guy moving forward, I would almost take more of an optimistic viewpoint. Like, hey, staff, hey, Perry, hey, Esposito, like whatever we get, let's not fool ourselves into unrealistic expectations. If we get anything outside of a national qualifier, it's a bonus for us at this point with Joe.
Dude,
I think.
Okay, man. Okay, Joe, how many comfortable All-Americans are you saying they're having right now? Because really, Boo is so healthy and unhealthy. The only one I'm really predicting is Pitch. That's it. Dakota Gear didn't look very good to me. Heavyweight's not good. 84, not really good. Except Joe, we talked about Joe. Whitlake is middle of the road. 57, and he's decent. 49, Boo, we talked about. 41, Gefeller did not look great in the final against Real Woods. 33 is, he's good, but he's a true freshman. And Pitch, this could be Oklahoma State's worst showing in, I don't know, 2 decades, 3 decades.
They were outside the top 10 2 years ago, weren't they?
There was a point where there were, but I feel like they could go below that. I feel like they could end up with only one All-American.
Yeah, if you've got one All-American, you're looking at, then you're basically hoping the other 6 to 8 guys that qualify, an accumulation of points with, that could put you in the top 20. But if those guys underperform, so I guess back to the start of the episode, when I said there wasn't much to talk about from the team front, I wasn't talking about from a negative standpoint. I was talking about it's almost like fool's gold. Yes, Okie State won the team title, but there's a false sense of reality there to think, oh, we won the Southern Scuffle. Number one, the strength of the Scuffle wasn't near what it's been in the last 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
They did win it, so there's something to that. They were able to manufacture points in certain areas. But yeah, from a team perspective, actually the team that I was super impressed with was Stanford and what they potentially could do. Because this kind of gives you insight into the NCAA tournament. If you have 4 high placers like Stanford did, it's like, hey, if we can replicate this,
okay,
with some margin there.
Let me just read this off to you. So I guess I didn't realize this, Matt, but North Carolina State was actually ranked higher. So I'm on Internet rankings. They're 4th. Oklahoma State is 9th. Let's see, who else was there? Iowa State didn't bring a whole team. Man, so there weren't very many. Pittsburgh is ranked 17th. Stanford's 22nd. So yeah, there's not a huge amount of highly ranked teams that were at the scuffle.
That's what I was saying at the beginning. Like from an individual standpoint, I think we have plenty to talk about. But from the depth and quality of teams, the depth of the teams, I think there's individuals like you look at Stanford. They placed 5 guys, but outside of that, they didn't get much out of their other 5 guys. They got a ton. Out of their 5 placers, but outside of that, not a bunch. But 5 strong at the NCAA tournament can take you a long, long ways, especially if you can punch a couple of these guys through to the top 4.
Yeah. So for me, what I saw as far as the scuffle's concerned, and I would agree with you, it's definitely, in my opinion, significantly down compared to where it has been. But what I see it as is that this was a huge youth movement. There were a lot of freshmen who came out and made a name for themselves. I mean, the finals was filled with freshmen. So I thought it was really awesome to get I don't want to say our first look, but our first kind of big time look, right? Winning the scuffle is a big deal. First big time look at a handful of these guys.
No, for sure. I mean, you look at, we've seen a guy like Riel Woods a little bit earlier in the season. But specifically like Carter Starace from Penn State.
Whoa, I can't believe how good he is. Jeez. I didn't think he was that good. I really didn't.
Yeah.
I was really shocked by that. That's one where he's really good. You kind of wish he was at 197 so you could throw him in because Beard didn't look great. And
no,
obviously
Beard had a good showing.
No, he didn't.
Well, yeah, he did.
I said that really gross. Matt, no, so listen, I'm talking about if you're Penn State right now, you're to beat Iowa, you need an All-American at that weight, and they don't have an All-American in Michael Beard. So he went, let's see. He
got 4th. He got 4th.
Okay, but he lost to Traxler and Ethan Laird. You don't even know who Ethan Laird is. I don't know who he is.
True.
I never heard of the guy.
True.
Okay, so he did look good because he did kick Dakota Year's butt. He took him down, I think, 5 times. And he beat Nick Greenan. Right.
But people are saying, and again, hey, if you step on the mat, we've established this before. There was some talk that Nick Greenan wasn't healthy. Well, he was healthy enough to say he could go. So don't say after the fact, well, I was dinged up, I wasn't healthy. Well, you still went out there and wrestled. So
yeah, that's fair. Okay. So hold on. So Beard he beat Pagano, who's ranked. He beat Nick Greenan, who, people forget Nick Greenan was in Final X finals a couple years back. He loses to Nathan Traxler. He beats Dakota Gear, and then he loses to Ethan Laird. So I guess it hinges on Traxler's good. I don't know this Ethan Laird guy. I'm going to look him up right now, Matt.
Yeah, but we're also basing this on this is not what we assume that Penn State's going to do. We assume that Rashida is going to go up to 197.
Well, they need to get someone in there that's going to All-American. Otherwise, they got no chance.
Right.
None. Okay, I'm looking up. Who did I say I was going to look up? Oh, Laird, Ethan Laird. Okay, I'm gonna tell you how good he is, so we should know. Okay, Wrestle Stat has him at rank number 19. He was round of 16 last year. Okay, so he's pretty good. He's better than I thought he was.
But it's not the results that you want. I mean, you want to. What Penn State needs is a guy that's gonna move the needle at 197. With this guy, it's moving, but it's moving back and forth like this, like some good, some bad, and a lot of inconsistency, probably, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he had a few good wins last year. I'm kind of just looking through his profile.
But again, it's a mixed bag, right? There's some decent results, but there's some other ones where like, wow, that's a bad loss. He's not beating anyone. Okay, he's not beating anyone really high up there. Ethan Laird is not. So Beard. I feel like Beard's a mixed bag if you're Penn State, because it's like, okay, if we're treating Michael Beard as a redshirt who's developing, I'm thumbs up. Good job. If we're treating Michael Beard as someone who needs to go score NCAA points at the NCAAs this year, that's thumbs down. So I guess, hey Max, how you doing? I guess it all depends on what perspective you have with with Michael Beard. Is it he's a redshirt and we're gonna wait till next year, or is it we need him to score points this year at the NCAA championship? No, I think
that's fair. So
yeah, I think Penn State's established their MO in these positions. Like after the new year, we pretty much see where they think their 10 best guys are going to be, or roughly, I think over the past 5 or 6 years, we've seen guys, this has kind of been their strategy, right? They sit in red shirt and then they throw them into the scuffle as like, okay, this is the true test. This is really going to determine where we make our decision here. Based on this, at 74, they're like, hey, we're good to go for next year at 174. 197.
Well, but if you had to throw Carter Soroki in right now, I'd feel confident with ranking him in the top 8. Wouldn't you?
A lot more than Michael Beard, for sure.
Well, Michael Beard, you're not ranking the top. I'm going to look at 174 and just make sure.
No, I'm just saying of the two, not Beard down at 74, but Soroki had down at 74 for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm ranking Starocki top 10. There's no doubt, because Spencer Carey was ranked. He beat him. Joe Grello was in the bracket. Daniel Bullard was in the bracket. Joseph Smith was in the bracket. So there's five ranked guys that were in that bracket, and it wasn't that he just won. It was that he was fairly dominant in all of his wins. He didn't really have a close match anywhere along the way. Let me just. I'm going to the bracket right now. It's on the Placers page. Yeah, so he goes. 12-2, 13-5, major decision on Spencer Carey, who's ranked nationally, 9-2 over Neil Richards, who actually, Neil Richards, the round before that, beat another guy that me and you are both really high on, Chris Foca. And, Foca's in red shirt, so he's in a situation where, okay, we give him a little leeway because he got another year to develop. Foca had a pretty good tournament. He beat Joe Grello. Who the heck did he beat? Someone else good in the Wrestlebacks. But Neil Richards put it on him. Oh, he beat Dean Sherry in the Wrestlebacks. Neil Richards tech-followed Chris Foca 18-3, and then Soroki comes out and beats him 9-2. So, yeah, I'm super impressed with Carter Soroki. I think that he's gonna fill in nicely next year. Penn State, sure, maybe they wish he was like 157 or something, right?
Yep. So that's again, this really makes for a compelling 2.5 months here about how. It looks like of all the teams right now that we've been talking about, Iowa's the closest to having a locked-in 10. I think everybody else.
I was locked in. Did you see that? Oh my God, that's almost a Gable. Did you see that Tom Brand said that everybody's on the table at 184, which I would assume means Abe Assad?
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Yeah, I mean, I guess for the why not, which I would go with, yeah, sure, he's on the table. But you have two guys who are capable, both Nelson and Wilkie. Right now, it looks like you're going to blow Penn State and Ohio State out of the water, and you could save him for another year. Why not? The why is, well, he's probably the best guy you got at 184.
But can you imagine? I think part of it is in coach's mind. There's a level of paranoia with coaches, right? And
yes.
I think the narrative in their mind, and it's got to be discussed in their four walls, and we never know what it is, but the level of paranoia to the extent of what if we get beat and we don't perform at 184 and we didn't pull Abe Assad.
And we lose by 4 points.
Right.
Or something.
Like I would, if I could win by 100, guaranteed I would win by 100 just to cover my bases, just to guarantee it, right? No margin of error, no sticking points, no trouble. Like I would play out what's the worst possible scenario that could play out where we could still win and construct your lineup accordingly. Sure. Meaning I would pull everyone. Your best 10 if I'm Iowa and you haven't won a title in a decade. Why would you be looking towards the future? Only the here and now matters. Only 2020 matters. Win that first title, and then you start establishing momentum on your side, which Penn State's established over the last 9 or 10 years. Like, they haven't had anything. Yeah. They've been having people beating them down. You've been beating the crap out of them for the longest time.
Who?
You.
Me?
You.
Right? Listen, I picked I would win in 2020.
Yeah. But what I'm saying to my point is like, hey, if you haven't won in a decade, I wouldn't be getting cute with my lineup.
Chances.
Don't get cute chances at all.
Well, you're pulling Ironman out too, right? We're doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. All hands on deck. Okay, let's kind of run through weight by weight for the Southern Scuffle. Obviously we can stop. We kind of hit some of the weights already. 125. I don't think there's a huge amount of story here. Nick pitched and he wins right away. His only competitive match was in a freshman who is redshirting. Sam Latona gave him a really competitive match. I believe that was the quarters, if I remember correctly.
I mean, he had him dead to rights. He was in deep on a single few to finish that shot. He goes up late.
Yes.
But outside of that, he was pretty much in cruise control all the way through.
Yeah. Besides that, not a lot of time. I mean, not anyone who's really highly ranked in here. So, yeah, I can't believe how much the Scuffle's dropped off in toughness, because if you just remember, I mean, Matt, how many years do we got to go back till the Southern Scuffle was by far and away the toughest tournament in the country? It's not a long time.
No, I think up until last year. Last year was the first time.
2 years?
Last year was the first time that we actually discussed, is Cliff Keen actually the toughest tournament in the country?
Yeah.
But before that, I would say the Scuffle had it on lockdown for at least a good 5 to 7 years. It wasn't even a conversation. It was just understood that is the premier tournament in the country.
Yeah, because, I mean, that was Penn State was there every year. Oklahoma State was there every year. Missouri was there every year. Minnesota, Cornell. I mean, yeah, it was super deep. So that to see it go, obviously Missouri, Cornell, Minnesota are all set. South Beach Duels, Penn State decided not to attend. So, yeah, you've taken most of their best teams off the board. Okay, 133, Mickey Philippi, number one seed. He kind of has close matches all the way through. Beats Jared Van Vliet, Reese Whitcraft close. Sammy Alvarez has an outstanding tournament. I watched this kid in high school. I thought he was like, okay, I didn't think he was that good. He looked good yesterday. Beats Mickey Philippi and then beats Cam Sikora in the finals. Really good movement, really good leg attacks, good in the scrambles, good on top. I'm kind of all around impressed with Sammy Alvarez.
Yeah, I watched him a little bit in high school. I wasn't real familiar with him, but super, super impressed. So this poses the question: if you're Scott Goodale, do you pull Alvarez out?
I thought Alvarez pulled already.
He was?
Or was it just Aragona and
Aragona? My bad. I'm mixing that up.
No, Aragona got pulled, and then who's the 25-pounder? I think he got pulled.
I thought they were pulling everybody. I thought that was the decision that they pulled everybody.
Okay, so Alvarez might be out of red shirt then, for sure.
Let's look that up.
I also do. I don't feel confident saying that.
Me either.
I'm gonna. Okay, look that one up. I think he's out of red shirt. I do believe. Yeah, he looks awesome. I think can he play a factor in the Big Ten at 133? I think the answer to that is probably not when you have Gross and DeSanto and Bravo Young, Piotrowski, Sebastian Rivera. What the hell is Intermat doing, Matt? Oh my God, I gotta stop looking at Intermat. These knuckleheads dropped Sebastian Rivera all the way down to 7th place. What are they doing?
What?
So they dropped him below Piotrowski. He was beating Piotrowski when he injury defaulted out of that match. You don't drop him for freaking losing an injury default.
I think we get so caught up. Like people, I think maybe even
they're fired. Intermat, you're
even
fired.
Some of the rankers don't do their due diligence in the sense like they see a forfeit and they're like, "Oh, this guy just dropped out of the tournament." There's so much.
But he was winning. He was winning the match at the time. He was up 6-4 or something.
I know, but what I'm saying is like a lot of people there's so much discussion about people ducking, people pulling them, protecting seeds or whatever that sometimes they see that just the medical default and they're like, "Oh, this guy's ducking the competition."
Right. Flo's got it right. They got Gross, DeSanto, Rivera, Bravo. Yeah. So. Okay, that's correct. I switched over.
All right, so Sammy Alvarez,
can he jump into that group there? I don't think so. That group of 4 is really, really good.
But can he jump into the mix of the bottom 4 through 8, or 5 through 8? I mean,
yeah. So let's see who else would he have there. So he's going to have Travis Piotrowski, who's a tough wrestler. Man, the Big Ten is kind of Ridge Lovett's down there. And you don't really have Garrett Pepple. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think he could be 5th place at the Big Ten for sure.
Yeah.
And could he sneak into the All-American? Yeah. I mean, Cam Sikora is ranked 8th. He just beat him. I could see him sneaking into an All-American position.
Yeah. I mean,
this year.
he beat 2 top 10 guys in there. So, I mean, it shows,
Yeah.
but it looks like I'm on Rutgers' website right now. It lists him as a freshman, where Nick Aguilar, they have as a redshirt freshman. So
I thought he was pulled too.
that's what I thought too, but they have him listed as a redshirt. But right underneath him with Alvarez, they have him listed as a freshman. So he must be out of redshirt already. Let's go to some of the results real quick.
Okay. Hey, so you get the results in San Marcos. I'm going to go to 141. Man, I guess Real Woods looked really, really good, and then Giefel, or G-Fel, we're going to call him. He kind of gave the match to Real Woods. He tried a really poor arm throw in the first period, and a really poor. I don't know if it was a low double or low single. I don't know what he was trying in the third period. Wasn't pretty. And so he essentially gave up 2 takedowns. And besides that, he just got ridden like a donkey. I mean, he was, I want to say it was 5.5 minutes of riding time or something like that. Like it was a boatload. So Feller does not look good at all against Real Woods. Kind of gave up 2 easy takedowns. Besides this, for me, the other story of this bracket is that Tarik Wilson just has not been able to recover his magic he found at the NCAA tournaments. He loses to Dusty Hone. He loses to Angelo Martioni, and then he forfeits to Evan Cheek. This is not fourth place at NCAA's Tarik Wilson. I don't know what kind of magic he found that weekend, but he hasn't found it again.
No, it kind of reminds me a little bit last year of Montori Bridges, who placed the previous year at 133 and just had uneven results. Just didn't quite look the same as the guy that we saw on the podium the previous year. And it's been the same thing with Tarik. And I don't know. Yeah. I mean, obviously he's got a body style that's a nightmare for anybody. Any potential matchup, this guy, I mean, he's all arms and legs. He's got a good gas tank. And so the surface things are obvious, but it seems like people are getting a better understanding of how they need to wrestle this body type. And he hasn't necessarily made the adjustments. And we've talked about, these are all the things like, we saw adjustments from Seth Gross and DeSanto from match 1 to match 2. Mm-hmm. And I think we're going to see more adjustments between both of them in match 3, match 4, and potentially match 5. What we haven't seen from Tarik Wilson is guys are changing the way they wrestle him. He hasn't necessarily changed himself or altered some of his attack areas.
Yeah, I agree. And you always need to evolve. My brother's actually on. This is so funny, Matt. I'm gonna out Max on public TV here. He wrote an article on it, like literally typing up the words. And hey, that's really good. I really like what your message here. But Max, you should really do it on video. That's like the modern communication. And then he started arguing. He started arguing with me why writing an article is better than making a video. But I think I won the argument. What do you think, Matt? What's your opinion?
I'm with you.
I can't write worth a damn. I suck at writing. My worst subject ever. There's a lot of things I could do in life. Writing is not one of them. I try to write something like, I suck.
Which is so crazy because there's usually
I'm terrible at it.
Usually there's a direct correlation between people's oral skills and their written skills. And you've obviously no,
not me. I stink. I can't write.
So maybe we should ask Tommy, to do a written debate over talent as opposed to an oral debate over talent.
It would probably beat me. You want to hear something funny that I do? This is really stupid, Matt. You ready for this? I'm outing myself on public TV. So if someone emails me a bunch of questions for an interview, I will actually use the Zencastr program. I will get on my computer. I will record the answers over voice and then send him that file rather than type because I know my typing is going to suck.
That's awful. That's awful.
Come on, that's great. Don't lie. You love it.
It is great, but you hate writing that much.
That much. I will literally, if someone sends me 5 questions for an interview, I will turn on my Zencastr. I will click record. I will record for 3 minutes or 4 minutes or whatever. I will save that file. I'll send that file to them. Yes, I will not type it.
What if you have to revise your thoughts?
Then I would just record a new file.
But if you have to re-record like 3 times, you might as well write.
No, I only do one take. Only one take. That's it. If I can't get it right, then
you're one and done. You're gold. We should just start. We'll just call you one take.
I try to do only one take on everything, and then I figure, hey, I'm gonna mess up sometimes. That's part of life. Yeah, that's it.
So I'm gonna start calling you that moving forward. One take, Askren.
One take. Yeah, actually, at UFC Singapore, I went and I taped the ESPN pre-show, and so they get me up there. They ask me a bunch of questions. I answer the questions. I leave, and the security guard goes, "Hey, man, you only needed one take." And I thought, wait, you're saying I would have got more tries if I didn't like it? And he's like, oh, yeah, some people do it like 5 times.
No way.
And so I'm like, I didn't know that was an option. I thought they were asking me questions. I answered the questions. I say bye. I leave. And as we're walking out, the security goes, you only needed one take. Okay. I didn't even know I got more. I thought it was, hey, answer these questions, and then that's it. But no. I guess if I would have said I don't like that, we just would have kept recording until I liked it. I didn't even know I had the option.
But you and I, we've talked about this because we've screwed up a little bit a couple times where we've had to re-record a couple things.
We have?
Yeah.
I thought it was just because we forgot to click record.
Well, that was the last episode. But we've always talked about like the second take. We've had to do it a couple times. The second take,
I thought it was all because of technical errors.
Yeah, but even because of technical errors, when we have to go in and do it again, it's never as good the second time through.
Never as good. Yes, correct. Never as good the second time through. Yeah. So Max and I got an argument about his article was really good, but I thought he should make a video component because my argument was that more people are likely to take the time to listen to it rather than read an article.
Yeah, I mean, in our information age, yeah.
Matt, think about how long if we freaking if someone like typed up the transcript of each one of our podcasts, no one would ever read that. You know how long it would be? And
our poor technical guys, we actually had them do that for a little while. They actually
not the whole thing.
Pretty close. Like early on when we first started doing the podcast, we're doing corresponding blogs along with the podcast. Like they were trying to do it verbatim, and I felt bad for those guys. Can you imagine that, listening to us and the ridiculous things we say that they're actually
they actually typed it out?
They did.
Wow, I don't remember that. I remember like them making minutes, like this, talk about this. I remember all that. Wow. Okay. See, Matt, this is what we talked earlier. I can't remember if we were recording when we talked or if it was before recording, but how I struggle at broadcasting because I have ADHD. We're talking about effing 141 pounds, and then we start talking about broadcasting versus typing.
But that's
like, you see why I can't broadcast? Damn.
Okay. All right, we jumping back into this. Where are we at?
149. Where was Boo? I don't even know.
He failed skin check. They didn't say what it was, but yeah, he didn't make it through skin check. Which seems like to be a recurring theme this year. I've never seen week after week duels.
I don't ever remember that.
Guys and duels being decided by guys not making it through skin check. So I don't know.
That's like 4 times. I don't ever remember that happening.
Yeah. I mean, it's.
Was there
I don't know.
Was there an increased emphasis this year? Because I don't remember hearing about an increased emphasis.
I need to ask about it because I've never seen this. So there must be a point of emphasis at some level.
Must be. Yeah. Wow. I would say there has to be. Oh, hey, I just saw. I pulled up the 149 rankings as we're talking about the 149 bracket. Kanan Storr got pulled out of red shirt, so he's at number 13 in the rankings.
There you go.
I did not know that was going to happen. Okay, so 149 at the Scuffle is all freshmen. We talk about Alvarez is a freshman. We talk about Sam Latona's good performance. He was a freshman. Real Woods is a freshman. And we got 2 freshmen in the finals here, Andrew Alirez, Jaden Abbas. Now, they said, I did not realize this, they said that Jaden Abbas gave Andrew Alirez his only high school loss ever.
Yep.
Which I thought was pretty impressive. And he beats him again in the finals here.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. Yeah, so I mean, it's a rematch. Most recently from high school, where Abbas did defeat Alirez for his own. I believe it was Alirez's only high school loss. Correct?
Yeah. Yep. That's what they said.
And
which I didn't know.
So it was interesting to see what this looked like once they get into a college room. And this is a potential matchup that's going to be really fun to watch over the next 3-4 years.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are both really, really high level. I've got to watch them as club coach because our guys competed against them. I've had multiple guys wrestle both these guys.
And I think with both of these guys, that's exciting is like they're not only fun to follow in folk style, but also in freestyle. They both got great freestyle pedigrees, so we'll be able to follow them in and out of the folk style season.
Yep, and Stanford actually is a good situation because they have a guy. His name's a disaster. Raquir Vandermeer. I hope I got that right. He's actually ranked. So I mean, I got to assume that Jaden's going to stay on the bench this year because Vandermeer is ranked like 16th. Did not have a great. He ended up 6th place here, so he did not have a great scuffle. But you got to think that they keep him in the lineup. I would have to assume.
Yeah, right? Because you've got to think. If you're Stanford and how you equate or how you tangibly measure your success, I think with a program like Stanford, if you put multiple guys on the podium every year, that's great for a program like Stanford with the challenges they have with their athletic or academic rigors, admissions standards, all that. So I think the only way you would consider pulling Abbas out of redshirt is if you think this team could get a trophy. Because
you know what though? They might be able to get a trophy.
They could
what about 4 All-Americans would definitely be top 10.
Definitely be top 10.
4 All-Americans.
You would probably think
Woods,
Ben
Griffith.
You would probably
Traxler.
You would probably think three All-Americans, depending on the placement, will put you in the top 10 most times.
Yeah, most times. Yeah, that's fair. Definitely.
And to your point, I mean, you're looking at it. It looks like Griffith is going to place. I don't think he's going to place. I don't think I think he actually could. What do you think his chances are against the top 4 at 165? Against
I think Shane Griffith's going to All-American.
Oh, without a doubt. I think that's a given. I'm saying, do you think he can? What do you think he's going to do against Marinelli, Wick, and Joseph? Against those top 3, how do you think he would fare?
I mean, so then you got, obviously McFadden just beat Evan Wick on that close match. You got to figure him there, and then Isaiah White too. I could see him going with those guys. I'm not confident picking him in that, but I think I feel pretty confident saying I think Shane Griffith is going to All-American this year. I feel pretty confident in that. Is he going to go? How high is he going to go? I don't know, but for this bracket, you'll get Vincenzo the senior, Isaiah White the senior, Josh Shields the senior, McFadden the senior, Marinelli and Wick are juniors. And then as I look below him, the only other young guy is Ethan Smith and Travis Whitlake. So you're looking at, hey, maybe if it's not this year, he's a potential finalist next year and definitely the year after that, for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's where you got to be excited if you're Stanford, like the youth, the quality youth that you have. And so I think maybe that's one of those things where, okay, we've got a good team this year. We're going to have a really good team next year.
How old's Traxler?
That's what I was looking.
I'll Google it real quick. Traxler's junior, so they got 2 more years with him. So, yeah, next year, and then I don't know. I'm blanking on what their recruiting class looked like.
But I'm just saying, based upon the youth of Woods, Abbas, and Griffith, that's a pretty good trio to ride the backs of the next several years.
Yeah, actually, we just had a kid commit to Stanford. I blanked on that for a second.
Okay.
Marshall Cools. He's an animal. Okay, I'm going to look up Stanford wrestling here. See who else they got that I missed out and check on their recruiting class.
So as you're looking into that, I guess we've got to review 157. I think this is similar. Oh. 157 was similar to 125. We did have, Hidley wrestled Delavecchio, who I think is top 8. Ranked in the top 8.
I'll tell you. Let me see.
But
I will get you an answer on that right now. Ready? Okay, Del Vecchia is number 8. Look, Matt, you're right on the dot.
There you go. So I think what we saw from Hidley is what we expected, similar to what we thought from Pitch at 125. That he took care of business. He took care of business in a very dominant way. I don't know if there's much more to talk about outside of that, but Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I think that's it at 157. I don't think there's much else to talk about because Hayden Hindley was so much better than everybody else. Yeah, I don't see any. I mean, Gabe Townsell's another guy, but he's a senior at Stanford. I don't really see anyone else who I would say this guy's going to definitely be a difference maker in their lineup right now. Yeah, Hidley's so good. All right, want to skip up to the next weight class?
Well, we already talked about Griffith a little bit. I don't know if we want to go any more into Griffith.
I mean, I feel like this. Well, I guess what I want to say, Matt, is that I think this is actually one of the better brackets in the tournament. When you look at it, I'll go to the rankings right now, so I have those on hand. So you got Griffith at number 7, you got Skidgill from Navy at number 8, you have Wenzel at number 9, you got Bullard at number 10. I think Fogarty was in there at 11, Whitlake at 13. So you had a whole bunch of guys. Ebajiro 18, right? A whole bunch of guys who are ranked in this bracket. It was kind of one of the deeper brackets in the tournament. And, I think Joe Lee's an interesting story because I want to see how he did. Connor Flynn, actually from Missouri, who is ranked fairly high at 174, he can't beat the other guy in the lineup right now, so he's bumping down. He lost to Joe Lee in the round of 16, and then he got knocked out by – oh, geez, I'm going to have to Google this. Sorry, I'm searching on track. So Connor Flynn got knocked out by Jake Wenzel, who's ranked number 9. So it's not like it's a bad loss, right? This is a number 9 ranked guy. Yeah, so I don't know. I think a lot of interesting things in this bracket.
Yep.
Joe Lee, I guess another guy, kind of like Michael Beard, if we're talking about, has some good wins. The Jake Wenzel win, that's really good. The Connor Flynn win, that's really good. But then he loses to Travis Whitlake and Thomas Bullard. And so I guess this is where you'd be saying, well, good thing he's got another year to develop consistency, et cetera, for Penn State.
Yeah, I think at 174, we've already talked about it with Starocci that, okay, we're not going to miss a beat. That's probably a bit of a stretch.
Dude, Starocci's going to be really good.
It's going to be really, really good. So at these other weights, okay, how does Joe Lee compare to Vincenzo Joseph? Looking like probably at least for the interim, at least in the next year, probably a pretty steep drop off from what they've had the 4 years. You can't feel hopeless by any means because I think Joe Lee showed a lot of positive things. Obviously, this isn't that much of a surprise, but he struggled on bottom over the weekend. But he's a freshman. That's kind of where you expect one of the areas of typical struggle for a guy. But
and obviously Bullard's really good on top usually. Yeah. So I did not watch the Travis Whitlake Joe Lee match. So I can't comment. Don't want to comment on that one.
Yeah, but I think what he did show, if he continues to trend in this direction, is he going to be Vincenzo Joseph winning a national title as a freshman? That probably looks like a stretch at this point.
It doesn't look like it.
But could he be in the mix to get on the podium next year? By all means. For sure.
Yeah, I would agree. Okay, any other takes on 65?
No, Luke, keep moving.
Yeah. Okay, 74. I think we actually kind of discussed this whole bracket earlier. We talked about Soroki. We talked about Chris Foca. We talked about Neil Richards. We talked about Joe Smith. So we kind of hit this bracket pretty hard. I don't know if there's anything we left on the table. What do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think we're going to probably jump to the next weight class, which I think is probably the deepest with the most quality depth in the weight class.
Let's see. How high is Waddell? So 65 and a bunch of ranked guys. I think this has the highest, right? Because you got the 3 guys. Yeah, the 3 guys who are ranked very high in this bracket. Number 4, Waddell's all the way down there at number 20. So he's kind of a little farther down there. But hey, I thought D. Perez looked good against Hidley. Obviously, turned that over. I thought D. Perez also looked good against Bonacorsi, although of that 10 points, 6 of it was in one sequence where he got a reversal. It was a takedown in Turk, I believe.
Yeah, but to be fair, and I don't think this is an exaggeration. I think Dupre is 8-0 against Bonacorsi all time. I think, not a lot of people saw this in the high school.
I think you brought this. I think you brought this up last year, and I was blown away by it.
Yeah, I mean, he is not only just beaten Bonacorsi, he's typically put. I know you said there's one sequence where he got 6 points. He did. He got a takedown and 4 back points, but he's kind of done that every single time that they've wrestled. They've never really had that really. I think there's been a couple close matches between the two, but by and large, Dupre has kind of dominated that pretty well. So, yes. And then the last time we saw Hidley versus Dupre, it went into overtime. We saw a very tight match again this time, 3-2. And I think this is going to be fascinating. We're going to see these guys. These guys are so similar in so many different ways that I don't see much separation coming from these two. I think we're going to see one takedown match, a ride-out match, an escape at the end, something. But I think it's always going to be a pretty tight, heated match all the way through, which we saw the same thing. The same thing that we saw in December, we saw the same thing here a month later. Just in, Dupre was able to flip the result. And obviously I've got some bias there about who
we got
rooting interest, but
no big deal.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool. Let's go 197. This is another weight class we talked fairly extensively about. I guess the one thing we did not talk about, we talked about Traxler and Beard and Gear. We didn't talk about Noah Adams. He was a guy who was a good high school wrestler, Cadet World team member, but he did have struggles last year. He didn't have a very successful freshman season, if I remember correctly. Comes out, looks good here. But you know what? Traxler has been really, in my opinion, really up and down. Like, he does dumb stuff, but he looked good in his quarters, looked good in semis. Matt, to get pinned, he freaking Grambied when the guy had a half Nelson in.
Yeah.
Like, I would yell at a sixth grader at my club if they did that. I'm like, dude, you can't grab me when they got a half Nelson in. What are you doing?
And that's why we've seen these uneven results, because it's not like he tends to do just like, wait a second. Like, you look at the kid and like, wait, how did you get into Stanford? Right?
Seriously.
You're basically violating a fundamental position. Like you said, you're elementary school kids. Like, you just don't do that. You can't Gramby with a half. Bad things will happen.
Seriously.
Bad things happen.
Terrible things. Terrible things happen. All right. Geez, Nathan Traxler, knock it off.
But I tell you what, you got to feel good a little bit about Adams' performance, because this is kind of the performance that, like, when you're looking to right the ship or change course, like West Virginia's trying to do with Tim Flynn, you need one of that first guy to lead the charge. And, he was able to build that huge tradition at Edinboro. Like, when he took over at West Virginia a year ago, there wasn't much, in the cupboards there. And so this is, it's good to see, like, there's a glimmer of hope, because I know that these guys have been getting beat up a little bit online because people are unrealistic. Like, you could just wave a magic wand and overturn a program or change a program around. Yeah. I think this is the guy. You need that first guy, and hopefully he continues on this trajectory, gets on the podium, and then he starts pulling the other guys through, to get on board with Flynn's culture and what he can do. So, hopefully that trends in that direction. Yeah,
I agree. Okay, so heavyweight, not a lot of highly ranked guys here. Actually, I'm going to look at the ranks. I don't know if there's anyone in the ranks. I don't recognize too many of these names here, and I follow college wrestling fairly closely. I guess Demetrius Thomas was in there. Gannon Gremmel. I did not realize Gannon Gremmel was so high. He's ranked at number 12, and then he beats number 2, Dalton Robertson in the finals. I guess really good performance by Gannon Gremmel in the finals, and not a huge amount else to say, in my opinion, about this weight class.
No, I mean, not only was this a good result by Gremmel, but you got to give Robertson credit, and you got to give Northern Colorado credit. We've talked about them a little bit.
How many placers did they have?
They had 4 placers.
Let's see, so O'Leary's in the finals, Robertson in the finals, Clothier at 7th, and Moshe Schwartz at 7th.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so for Troy Nickerson, you got to be feeling good about that. He's put together several solid recruiting classes the last couple of years, getting some results now which is exciting to see. So hopefully Troy continues to build on this momentum. And I tell you what, man, that Alirez guy, I tell you what.
He's good. He's really good.
I like him a lot.
Yeah. Okay, Matt. Well, that's it for us. And we will be signing off as full-time podcast partners. I think we had a really good run.
Yeah.
I think we had a lot of fun. So for everyone who has been following us, I'm going to be on the Flow Wrestling Radio Live. I will still be continuing with RUDIS. I'll be doing a Monday show, which is kind of interview format. And then Matt will be continuing on with the RUDIS Wrestling Podcast. So you will get to see both of us still, just not both of us together. Is that fair?
Yeah, and maybe occasionally we'll be doing stuff together.
Yes. Sure. It's last time as full-time host. But yeah, I do believe we'll do some stuff on site as we've done in the past. And those have been some of our most popular shows. You guys really like when Matt and I broadcast on site from places.
Yeah, so I think we were talking right before the show. I think our plan, we've been talking about it throughout the year already. We're looking to Penn State, Iowa, do a live podcast there. Hopefully we can build that out. Maybe looking at NCAAs, Olympic trials, future stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
yes,
been a lot of fun this past year. It's amazing that we did 114 episodes in 1 year.
Well, I guess we're we're a year and 3 months.
Just a little.
The 114 episodes seems like a crap ton, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. Nice. Okay, well, that's it from us. I'm sure you'll hear from us. You'll probably hear from both of us before the end of the week.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Sounds good, Matt. All right, thanks a lot, and we will see you guys later.
Peace.